Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
How do you say hello in Hungarian?
Szia.
You have to laugh when you say
Sziasztok.
hello?
Yeah, you have to lie.
Yeah, it's sziasztok in plural
szia.
actually.
Sziasztok. So in the world of Seinfeld, it'd be Sziasztok!
Or if you want to be like a sir, then you say servus kérlek.
That's too complicated. Say it again.
Servus kérlek.
Szelur skelek?
Almost there.
Well, close but no cigar.
So this is replacing me now.
A Pez dispenser, I love it.
Uh-huh. As I was saying. Okay. Is Sébastien here? Yet?
Nope.
Always late. Right there. Before we start, does anyone have any demos today? Just so we know.
Do we have Zoltan?
We have. I don't know. You have a question?
You don't know if you have a demo?
I don't think I have a demo.
I have one.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it comments?
No, it will
Just asking.
it will be a demo. You will bend after. Okay.
I will what?
Well, let's see that.
Bend?
What?
You mean
Like this.
okay. I get it, okay.
You mean bend over or?
Bend whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't sound good actually.
Too kinky now.
Either way, it's not good.
It works in French too, actually.
No.
But it's not polite.
No. Okay, so I think we're at a point with regards to 1.7 where
Where it's done. Okay.
no,
Let's see. Oh.
where people should start actually working on features and not discussing it.
Well, they should start discussing it before we work on it. No. No, I agree.
Well,
No, we have some features we can start now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to contribute to 1.7, pick something and start working on it.
Sure, I
And
will
let us
do.
know. You will?
I will.
Cool.
Definitely.
Okay, so I don't have much this week. We might want to do triage, however, but demos first. So go ahead.
Demo. I will show you Orchard. Well, I hope the demo will repro what I just saw. I'm not sure. You know, it's a demo, so can you see Orchard?
No.
Tell me.
Not
No,
yet.
it's still loading.
I've got it.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
Yeah, me too.
So you see, it's Orchard vanilla website. Homepage. Nothing. Oh yeah, it's using syscachdb by default because I didn't want to see the burden of database query. So this is IIS default web deploy package it's called Orchard2 here because it's my virtual directory. I have one application on IIS. Let me show you. You will see it's very simple. There is one application called Orchard2 and one called Orchard noclay. Ooh, Nick's eyes are blinking like, oh, what is it? This is Orchard without clay. And you see it's the same web app, just 2 web deployments, original deployments, syscache db off. This is one web app, this is the other one, okay? Same web server, same machine, everything. Now I'm gonna run so this is my super duper stress test tool. I'm running it, okay? On Orchard2, 3 concurrent threads, and you see response time under 300 milliseconds, and less requests per second, maybe because I have link running.
Hold on, somebody hijacked the session here.
Who's done this?
Let's who's that? Let's kick him.
Sipka.
I think it was Sipka.
Sipka, okay, Sipka, see you later.
Nice drawing.
So you see 10 requests per second, 300 milliseconds.
Wait, I'm waiting for it to reload.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks.
Start over.
Sipka.
Sipka, why are you back?
So that we can scream at him, maybe.
It's pretty disappointing. It was almost 20 requests per second with just 3. It was nicer without link. So without link, it's going faster. Okay. Okay, you see the numbers?
No.
No, it's still loading.
I can see it, 8 requests per second. That's pretty.
Yeah, now it's 8 requests per second. Yeah, and it's increasing in terms of average time. Should not be as bad. Link is running and it's taking a lot of network and CPU. So now I'm doing the same thing on Orchard noclay, and I'm running.
I'm expecting 40 requests per second.
No.
It was 40 requests per second. But link
so
is
it is 50% faster.
it was
more or less.
it
40,
was
50%. Right.
either you call it 100% faster, or you call the one before 50% slower.
No, you're not 100% faster.
It
That's
was
twice as fast.
Yeah, so 100% faster.
Who failed algebra here?
And also the response time was less than 100 milliseconds.
I'm curious.
You can be.
Yeah, because it may be growing.
What about memory occupation? Is it the same?
On a stupid test, it was smaller.
Is it Expando?
No.
It's a custom expander. Well, Clay was kind of an expander. It was called the prop behavior, but
I thought you were using dictionaries on that.
Yeah. But
the
Expando also.
Yeah,
no, not
well,
Expando.
the difference is that the Expando object is actually using expressions to retrieve the objects. So it's actually faster than a dictionary, but Clay has never been using that, and neither is this.
Nope.
What's the code look like that you replaced it with, or is it
Yes, I can show you. So I can also explain you the core ID behind that, and it's not removing completely Clay. I'm still using some part of it. So the idea is that, let me close everything.
Wasn't Clay slow around the widget section?
Around everything.
Wow.
Yeah, one day I wanted to debug something and I wanted to see what was accessed from Clay, and I did like literally 50 F11 hits before seeing what was going on when you access a member. 50 F11 clicks. So the idea now, so before, a Clay object was actually a dynamic proxy. So it was generating a dynamic proxy, so generating some code which was inheriting from a custom class and also implementing the dynamic object behaviors so that you can plug clay behaviors. And in the end, we only had around 5 different combinations of behaviors, always the same ones. And so for instance, shape had a behavior, zone was a behavior, zone holding was a behavior, things like that, okay? But they were all clay objects with plugged behaviors. So what I did, I just refactored things so that now we have a shape class which owns its behavior inside a class. It's not plugged into a generic object, it's inside shape. Shape is now a dynamic object, I call it a composite object. Shape is a dynamic object which implements directly try convert, try set index, everything which previously was in a shape behavior and plugged dynamically on any new object. Same thing for instance, a zone, what was called zone holding behavior now is a zone holding class, which inherits from shape. So it has the same behavior as a shape, which was true before, and has its own behavior about holding zones and faking zones inside. And it's no more a clay behavior, it's a concrete class with its own implementation. Dynamic implementation, try get member implementation, but its own implementation. It's no more plugged. So it's less flexible, but we used clay flexibility to define predefined behaviors. And because we know those predefined behaviors, we can actually wire them inside our own classes. And
so if you need the full flexibility of clay, you can still use it?
Well, today you could still use clay. Yes, you could still use it because how it's done is that the display factory, as it was the case previously, you can pass a constructor to what you want to use as a shape. If it implements iShape, it's okay. So you could still give your own clay object as a shape, it will work because it implements iShape and all the behaviors that you intend.
Yeah, if you need custom behaviors or what have you. But here the idea is that for those types of shapes whose behavior we know very well and that is very well defined, Sébastien has been replacing the generic clay with specific implementation in those cases.
And technically it was just refactoring because the behavior code was there. It was just about, instead of doing some switch case on the call, let's put it in directly inside a class.
So it's less levels of indirection.
Exactly.
In those cases, and that's going to have two advantages. First, it's faster, performs better, and second, when you debug, I think you're going to show that.
Yep, I'm going.
It's a lot nicer because if you've ever debugged a clay object, and everybody has done that on this core, I suppose, you know how you have to dig deep into the objects to find what's in there.
Yep. So I will show you a very simple example.
What's the disadvantage to doing it this way then?
What?
What do you perceive to be the disadvantage of removing clay? Not totally, obviously.
Well,
doing it this way.
Potentially it's a breaking change. Because if somebody, for example, added behavior on some of those objects, which is really a tricky proposition, then in theory that code could be broken. So if you're advanced enough to do that sort of thing, I mean, you know how to fix it.
So we can ask a question. So Piotr, just can you answer with yes or no? Did you ever write a clay behavior for a custom shape?
Yeah, I did it.
Is it used?
But I did it it was like a proof of concept. The module called Truth. It's being used by a couple people. I don't actually work on that anymore. But yeah, in order to implement dynamic layouts, I was implementing the clay behavior. But it was just one time, and it's it was really tricky. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's a lot of modules will actually break with this change.
Sébastien is going to put that in a branch, in a separate branch, if that's not already done. The idea being that if you think this might break some of your stuff, you can try it by just updating to that branch and testing it. And we're early enough in 1.7 that this should be doable in time.
So Sébastien, isn't it? So you're not using the dynamic proxy for this. You're only using the dynamic object, but not proxy anymore.
Exactly.
Does that
Okay.
remove the dynamic proxy setup in for autofac, or am I thinking of something else?
Nothing else. Nothing else. It's something else.
Okay, sorry.
So here I need a breakpoint here. Okay. Debug, attach a process. Attach. It's very slow. I think it's link again. Like last week when I wanted to do a demo. Something is slowing down a lot. This one is a zone holding, we don't care, okay. Oh, I need to go into some paging stuff. So I put a breakpoint in pager.cshtml in the admin view. So the custom template for the pager and okay, and I forgot to put content. So I hit a breakpoint here, and not this one. I want to go further. I want to go in the shape template. Actually, it was the same. Okay, and here model is a pager shape. Okay, so it was the same view. So before we would have seen here shape proxy. Okay, now it's shape. And if I expand, I can see attributes, classes, everything, metadata like before, and I can see previous text, next text, page size, page, which are properties on the shape itself. And
that is such an improvement. I mean, this is brilliant.
Oh yeah, that's way much.
Just for that part, that sells it to me.
And items too. Items was not available directly, so now you can see all the children items of the shape directly. I have also
previous text and next text here are
defined here like that. You see just above.
Oh, okay,
so this is what was before accessible through the underscore target.
So you had to drill into behaviors and then select the first behavior and.
And you see it's actually a localized string. Previous text is a localized string, so you can even see everything about the localized string here.
Fantastic.
But the main difference is performance. I will send you maybe some screenshots of the real perf test. The simple one, I mean, it's just 3 different users hitting the same website. The difference is huge on the vanilla web page. So I'm assuming that the difference is even more important when there is a lot of content.
Yeah, on a projection results page, for example.
Yeah, I should try it. Yeah, but I just launched it just before the meeting, and I wanted to see after the work on that, and fixing a few more bugs. And I also discovered some stuff on shapes. I learned stuff on shapes, so I'm sure no one knows, but one guy I know.
Whose name begins with U and finishes with E.
Maybe.
Okay, share.
Share what?
Share it with us.
What?
what you learned.
No, it's stupid stuff. No, about how you can initialize shapes, and I didn't know, or maybe I knew and I forgot.
Oh, about the various different ways in which.
Yeah. I mentioned one at the Harvest conference. It was about that if you like it's there. Let me show you. If you really want to see this one. So shape is here is a shape factory. Usually it's new or display, whatever. Dot pager will initialize. So this is very interesting because with the new code you can really understand how it works. So this is a display factory. Okay, so if I go to display factory, which now is a concrete class with concrete methods in it. So shape display factory, shape display. There's a factory somewhere. Default maybe shape display factory. Does anyone knows the?
You can see it. Default shape factory. 6 down.
6. Okay, thank you. So now you see it's a composite, which itself is a dynamic object. Composite is just the base class for dynamic object that just implements the property behaviors. So it's like the expander object. That's a custom expander object, okay, with little more stuff than expander object. And you see here that actually when you do display dot or new dot or whatever dot, the first argument here will create a shape. You all know that. And how it's done is that it's just that if you invoke it, let me see if there is a better one. No, so if you invoke it with a name, it will call create with this name and all the arguments inside the call. So it will just say create, which itself create will call the real shape factory and just create a new shape. Okay? So that's really what happens. It's intercepting a call on this object and uses the name to create a shape using the name as a type. And the magic here is that if you look deeper, it was not like that before because it was all in behaviors, but for instance, it will look at the first parameter. This is what I mentioned at Harvest. So it takes the first parameter, and if the first parameter is a type, it will try, so this is a new implementation now, but it will try to use the type you pass as the concrete type of the shape it will create. So example is shape.
So the behavior is the same as it was before?
Yeah. I didn't break anything in terms of behavior. I just refactored how it's done.
Is it best to use activator?
Also, just for information, this is never used in the current code. This is just some code base that could be hit someday if you want to do that. But I've not seen one single example of that in the code right now. Okay. Because we all use shapes, which are the default ones, or zone holding, or content zone, or things like that.
Yeah, there is one call with some view model, I think in settings or something. I've seen it just once somewhere.
If you can find it, send it to me.
So what was your question, Nick, about activator?
Well, creating instance is actually quite heavy.
And what I said is that it's never called.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, yeah, that's fine.
But before this refactoring, there was a clay activator which was doing more than just create instance by doing the dynamic proxy and wiring all the behaviors. And this clay activator was called every time to create new shapes. So now it's just the new of a concrete type.
Okay.
But it's still dynamic, so there is still some performance hits. So I just wanted to show you this one because I did some unit tests on that. The shape factory test. So a very nice example of what I'm trying to explain you is that, so this is a shape factory, so the class I was showing to you, factory. So if you call factory.foo, and the first parameter is a type, here my shape, which inherits from shape and has some specific properties, then the object that you will have will be an instance of the type you just passed. Okay? Okay, and you can also, and this was the behavior I discovered, and actually maybe I have forgotten because it's obvious. There is another behavior which is, if there is a parameter in the method call, in this method call, like for instance, you use the factory and you do dot something to create a shape, but you pass an object without any name. That's very important. If you pass, like for instance, a colon pager, the a property will be pager. You all know that. But if you don't pass any name, this object will be used as an initializer object. So any property it has will be cloned to the object. So unit test is this one.
Okay.
Yeah, you can create a shape giving it a new, yeah, exactly that, yeah.
So this one, you see?
But maybe it would be better to, if you, for example, pass a concrete object as a parameter, to base the shape based on the type of that object. So if you pass a pager object, the shape will be of type pager.
This is using that. You define what type you want as a base type, but you can still...
I know. I'm just thinking loud.
And the second overload is that the object you pass, if it's not a named argument, it will use all its properties and copy them into the object itself, the new shape. So if I say factory foo of bar, then all the properties of bar will be actually on foo. That's it. That's some shape magic, black magic. And now it's very obvious.
It opens a lot of possibilities, especially that type of type parameter, because right now when we want to create a shape that contains a strongly typed model, you can't do that, even if it's using the type of, because there is the proxy has a random name, random type name, and it's you have an exception that the actual past model doesn't match the model that's defined. But if you so this thing will actually allow having shapes with a strongly typed model. So to use, for example, strongly type HTML, the HTML utility.
Exactly. So I see your point. So now imagine we know that we pass a pager, for instance. We could say here model pager. It's a shape. It has dynamic properties, but we also know the base type. So you could do that too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
We could even extend it so that we can say something like calling a generic method, something like foo of my shape. You see, let me close that. It would be, I think, nicer than that. So my shape, something like that. It could be done like that. Also, it's just syntactic sugar. This is the same.
If you want a summary of all the crazy ways in which you can initialize a clay object, I pasted a link in the chat window, and it actually includes the one about passing an anonymous object to initialize.
Okay.
Sébastien, one thing. So if you use that factory.foo type of something and provide a second parameter, is it still rewriting the properties?
Yes.
or is it, or maybe should it just set the object to that one? So we have all the private things, and so it will be exactly the object that you pass.
So then you don't need to pass the first one, because you say, hey, the shape I give you is this object, so why do you create a new one? Because this is the object you want. So you have it, it's bar, and do bar equals new something, and you have it. Don't call the factory. And second, even more important way is that reason is that you don't want to break anything in Orchard, because this is used. I send you the numbers.
I like.
All right, this is very cool.
And I try to share with some of you if you want the code base. It's not breaking at all. It's a patch we can be applied on 1.6 right now. So it's not, I didn't base the branch I have locally on the 1.6 tip, but it can be rebased on 1.6. So if you want to play with it, just this change, I could make it available based on 1.6. And we can see how it goes. Just like putting it on Noisette and checking if it's fast.
Yeah.
It's almost safe. There must be some bugs because I discover sometimes some very little things and I fix them, but yeah. I also fixed the shape tracing. Shape tracing works, so wow.
Yeah, it's really nice and it's really much simpler than it was before because those clay objects they were very hard to understand.
I just focused on performance. My first goal was to see if there could be a performance impact on changing that.
Yeah, the debugging thing is a side effect. It's a very nice side effect that I really like.
Yeah, I agree.
And there is still some refactoring because I'm still using some helper classes from Clay, which is actually the only dependency on Clay now, like the arguments static class to get named arguments automatically. This is something that doesn't need to be in Clay anymore. And it will also save us some. Oh, and also, so I did this work. It took me around 3 days, and I also did earlier some jitting work. To improve performance. So you know,
yeah, Did we talk about jitting last time?
I don't think so because I started.
We did.
You did?
No, we've been speaking about engine and stuff, so we can. Yeah,
so now it's fixed. So actually, Orchard is not using the 1.6 is not using the new benefits of .NET 4.5, which kicks in even if you don't want to use 4.5. If you have installed it on your machine, it will use 4.5. Okay. So the idea is that when you start the application, it will JIT all the assemblies every time you restart your application because it's a web application. And in Orchard, it's half the time of the startup is from JITting. So this is something we can do nothing about it. So I worked on it, and now I pushed some changes which don't break it anymore in Orchard. So now it's using the new 4.5 background JIT and multi-core JITting, and we gain 4 seconds of cheatings, which is half of the time of cheating is now gained from previous tests. So technically, your application should start 4 seconds faster than before. Start. And it was actually due to a bug a thrown exceptions of an assembly not found in nHibernate. So we are using a custom patched nHibernate using a public patch, which is somewhere waiting for a pull request. That's it.
nHibernate was the only one that.
Yes.
Another one?
Maybe, and I forgot which one. No.
No, I thought you had another constructor that was.
Yeah, but this is because it was not using the background JIT and it was showing more stuff than it should. It was weird. It's also using it was also about the core, the multi-core JITting. It's a weird issue just in debug mode, and I contacted the guys from the JIT.
Oh, it's just in debug mode?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, and actually with the new numbers, it was neglectable.
You did compare startup times with other CMS on .NET, didn't you?
Yes. JIT time was very bad for Orchard because we are not using that. There were so actually best one was Umbraco, I think, and worst one was the Nuke, but on their new version because they're doing some new crazy thing. I don't know what, but it was really really slow, and but we were not very good. Just no. So, but after this change, I need new numbers now. But after this change, it's to be better. I'm waiting for the numbers. They are testing all the gallery applications here for Azure to improve the startup times and the experience in Azure, so which is obvious. So.
All right, very cool. Does anybody else have a demo today? If not, we are going to switch to do some triage, maybe.
Yeah, first I would like to have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, we did kind of just stumble upon that. Sébastien, you have changed the interface HTML filter.
Yeah, in comments, yeah, it's still to be done. We need to discuss that. I already talked with Bertrand about some things. It's not definitive. It might be more changes than that because
Yeah.
it's based on the work on comments, and so the idea, the main idea of changing it is that I realized that HTML filter was done for something, which then has been changed for something else, and now when I see comments how it should use it, it's like going too. It's doing too much, it's going. I say, it's completely different at what it was done for if we use it in comments. So I think we should disrupt it right now and make it good. So what you saw is not a definite change, but it's the first step of a bigger change. You want me to go into details?
All right. Yeah. Please describe, because the current version,
Oh, it's
I
breaking
really
things.
don't like it. Sorry.
The one that takes is must break things. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the idea is that HTML filter was used always to render the body, and there is an implementation today which is the BB code, which is always run on every body part. Okay, it's just when the body part renders, it calls all the HTML filter, because the body part is the TinyMC flavor is HTML by default. It just filters the HTML, and that's using BB code. Then we implemented Markdown, and I wanted to use the same HTML filter to convert the Markdown to HTML. So for that, I added a new parameter in the HTML filter, so you can pass a flavor. So now HTML filter could have a flavor, and you could execute the filter based on the flavor you would pass. BB code is still applied always, because I don't want to break it, but Markdown was just applied if the flavor of the body part was Markdown, which makes sense. Okay. Then comments. We said that, when I say we, you and I, we agreed that we should have a way to customize the rendering of comments by being able to provide tags inside, custom formatting. So I say, okay, let's use a HTML filter, and then you can use the one you want, like the Markdown one, or a simple Markdown, or who's pissed off? Or the Markdown.
Someone's breathing heavy.
Yeah, that's like, shut up.
I happen to know who it is, but it's the same person who always complains about other
Okay.
people breathing heavy.
No, that's probably right.
Well, I wasn't going to say, but thank you, Bertrand.
He's complaining.
You're welcome.
Jeez, you guys are really. I just sighed about something else. No, nothing about Markdown. Markdown rocks. Come on, Sebastian. I love that.
And then I implemented in comments a link with HTML filters again. So HTML filters, which were initially used by HTML rendering content, could now be used by Markdown, which is not HTML, and by comments, which also are not HTML. They can be, but no. And I think so. What I did is that I reverted it. I think now I removed the flavor from the HTML filter, and I think we should have different interfaces for that. We should have the ones for the TinyMC, the one for Markdown, which should be maybe in its view and not a filter like that, and because it's very specific to the view itself. And we might need a custom interface for filtering comments. So you can have a feature which will provide just filters for comments, and show them into the commenting part. So you can select which one you want. And also, yeah, the idea was also, we discussed it with Bertrand, the idea was also to be able to have multiple filters, and then you can define which ones you want and in which order you want them to be applied. Because it makes sense when you have filters to decide which ones you want and also the order. Like the last one being, let's strip something, like let's strip all the script tags or all any tags or anything. And the first one being convert the markdown to HTML, you know? So you have a pipeline of filters. So that's the bigger vision of the filters that has not been defined yet. Zoltan?
Yeah, that sounds good. I like the pipeline idea. The current implementation, I don't. But it will change, so all right.
So what I prefer with the current implementation compared to the previous one is that now I'm not referencing a flavor, but the class itself. Okay, maybe that's what you don't like with the comments.
Yeah.
In the end, it needs to reference which implementation in which order to be applied.
Okay. But anyway, that's a work in progress. All right.
So then all can be filters, like text filters, and it's up to you to put something which makes sense. Oh, let's put a markdown filter and then a BB code filter and then a strip HTML tags filter. Okay, and they will be all filters on text, and then they could be reused by everything. But today it's not the case. Just a text filter.
Isn't that a bit less flexible if you have to define where this filter will be activated by the name of the class? Not your runtime.
Yes and no. This is one way. We could also have all the events that let you inject a filter based on your custom logic. And then you can provide a module which injects a filter in a specific context when you want. So nice for a user to select a filter. So maybe if it has to be named based instead of class based, okay. But there's a risk then, and we can discuss it. Maybe we can discuss it. If you have some ideas, write them. Misk Fred.
All right. Then later then.
I have seen what it was in Drupal. And at that time, I remember it was a nice idea. Don't remember which idea, but it was nice. We have to see what they're doing.
Okay, thanks.
I have just a quick question. Maybe you, I just want to know what you think about such thing, because I noticed that in Orchard it's quite hard when you how to do for example, if you have a scenario when you're writing some code that is being used for monitoring some components, or do some custom logging, error handling, or something like that, you either have to override, for example, Content Manager and create your custom implementation that's basically 99% the same as the base one. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe we could implement a small feature in core to be able to implement interceptors for specific components, just like we do iDependency. So something like interface called iInterceptor, and mark it with correct attributes to note which types it should be used. It should be intercepted by that interceptor, and you use that information when building a shell. at startup, because there are lots of scenarios in which you don't want to actually alter the current code base, but you want to do something. For example, when the content is created, do something, or when some method on some other object is being called, do something. So monitoring and error handling is are the quite obvious scenarios for doing that. And extending the base object is, it's not a good thing, because you have to do a lot of, if you want to intercept calls to lots of objects, you have to override everyone, and it's and suppress the dependency on the old one. So it's
Are you done? Can I suggest you something?
Yeah.
Maybe you could try to, I'm sure it's doable, with AutoFact to intercept any resolve call.
I know what you're trying to say. It is possible to inject, use Artifact module and to use dynamic proxying and inject that. Yeah, but I was just thinking about maybe it would be good to have such feature built in the core, because I think lots of modules could benefit from that, because there are quite a few scenarios in which you have to you want to plug into something without actually changing it.
That's dynamic proxies. And if you do this module, they won't need any more modules, just your module.
Yeah, okay, this way or another, I will have to do that, because, for example, for the monitoring module, which I'm working on right now, I have to do that to, for example, intercept calls to content manager, or measure the time.
If it can be done by creating an AutoFact module and intercepting with dynamic proxy, I don't see why we should add something in the core to do that.
Yeah, but
there you might miss some events, as we said, like we have some events for the shapes creation, so you can monitor and measure the shape time it takes, things which are not based on interfaces maybe. So we might add some new extensibility points or events to measure things.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the content manager. I don't think there's events for everything.
Yeah. So and you can also, for instance, if you do an AutoFact module, you can do a generic one which can monitor anything, and you could also have one very specific for content manager, because you know the interface and intercepts very specific calls, because you know this one is interesting because it gives me the time of a request and every request and everything. You can even intercept the sessions and intercept every request which is done, query which is done, and get the time like it's done in Meeting Provider, but you know that. And
yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll figure something out. I was just thinking about maybe at some point such feature in the core would be just remove a lot of complexity, but like writing your own AutoFact module. But yeah, that's not crucial, because it can be done a couple ways. So yeah, just throwing an idea for the future.
You said you had a demo?
Yeah, I can do one if you'd rather. Or would you rather do triage for 10 minutes?
Let's do a demo. Is it
sure?
forms?
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Alright, I've hit request control, so. Sébastien, I've requested control.
Just make sure Sipka doesn't hijack it.
Sorry, hold on. I didn't want to request control over your computer. I should have done the present first. Alright, tell me when you can see my screen.
This is misleading.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Nope.
Oh yeah, desktop.
Now it's loading.
You're presenting.
Close your link window, it's okay. You can see it.
You can see, yeah?
Yeah, so close it. Well, minimize it.
Okay, I've closed it. Can you not see it anymore? Can you see discussion, test? Can you see Orchard?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone else see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So a few things that I've done. This is just, I've set up a default forum already. Let me just show you. I ran through setting up a forum a while ago, and it's already on the board, so I'm not going to setting that up again. So I've got a discussions forum. So if I create a thread, test, I'll just give it whatever, some tags, hello. So I'll demo the sticky thing in a minute. Let me just hit save. Right, so I've got a thread.
Show me your sticky thing.
Huh? Sure. No, hold on. That's based on a permission as well. So, okay. So, a sticky thread is obviously one that allows you to shove it at the top. Yeah. So test sticky.
Can you make a thread sticky after it's been created?
No, you can't. Obviously.
No.
No. Why would you?
Because that's usually
No,
how
I
it
mean,
happens. You
okay.
know, a thread begins and then people realize,
Sorry.
oh, this is really
Bad
interesting.
question.
It should be.
Why would Nick be able to do it?
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
might be. Wow. Sticky.
Hold on. Let's have a look. There it is. Obviously, this is in the admin screens, right? So I haven't built that part into the front end, but an admin can make something sticky, right?
Because it's a permission. Because it's a permission. Can make sticky things, and the admin has all the permissions.
Absolutely, it's a permission.
But you can say that the current user doesn't have the permission right now, so that's why it's not shown. Say it.
The current user doesn't. Well, I'm an admin, so I've got permission over everything. I'll just show that it is a permission, so you guys.
And this is a permission. Wow.
See, I've got lots of permissions. Lots
Awesome.
and lots and lots of permissions.
And do you use them, or it's just for the fun?
No, I use all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I use all of them. Forums, they need a lot of permissions.
Trying to find the flows,
Yeah, exactly. When you mark something as a sticky post, it puts a little icon, says it's sticky, so on and so forth. Just to highlight that it does stay at the top. Non-sticky. Need tag as well. Save it. Go back to the discussions board. So my sticky post is still at the top. Then non-sticky and test threads. So they're in order, right? The next thing is that let me just refresh that. So I might want to actually close. From an administrative perspective, you might want to actually close the thread. Now I originally started looking at doing moderation or something along those lines, and then after getting an answer out of Sébastien, I don't need to do moderation anymore. Fantastic, because that will be taken care of by something else.
Workflows.
By workflows, exactly. So I can wait for that. I'm happy with that. So I might actually want to close a thread. Now that I don't think.
Well, sorry, excuse me to rephrase you. You might wait for it, or maybe workflow will wait for your module.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you.
Yeah.
So I might actually want to close a thread. So I've got a little close button there. Now, closing a thread, you normally give something a description. If you look at Stack Overflow, people always close stuff and give it a description. Normally a canned description, but for the time being, let's just type something in. So this is a crap post. So let's just close that. So you can see that it's closed. I haven't got any filters up here yet, but I'm not too fussed about that. So if I go to non-sticky, I can no longer reply to this, and you can see that it was closed by the admin, and you've got the description, this is a crap post. So that's driving, and that's also a permission, so you can, there's a whole bunch of them here somewhere. Allows you to close any post or whatever, any thread. So those are the two things that I've done just recently, closing and stickies. The next thing I think I want to do is maybe put taxonomies on a forum. I see that people want nested forums, and I don't think that's what they want. I think what they're actually meaning is categories on the description, on the forum.
Yeah, we say
so,
group the forums and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they want nested categories, which is taxonomies, but not nested forums.
Exactly. I just want to show one more thing. Discussion test 2.
That's always the case with customers. They don't know what they want. We have to explain them. No, that's not what you want.
I just want to show one other thing off, and
that's why I don't deal with customers anymore. Well, I have to deal with you, and it's the same story, but simpler.
So I've got 2 forums now. I've got discussion test 2 and discussions. I haven't tested this since I wrote it, but so let's see if this works. So let me list the threads on, not there, sorry, list the threads here. And I want to actually move this thread from here to discussion test 2. Fantastic, that's now gone. If I jump back and
Fantastic.
I see
Wonderful.
threads, there you go. And if you also look at, there you go, you've got your test thread. And maybe you need to put a comment in there or something that says, you know, it got moved from somewhere else. But you know, it works, and yeah.
Nice.
That's my demo.
Yeah, I just had one very small comment, which is that your admin menu icon is not the right color.
What there?
Is there something right?
I never asked for. I haven't asked for that one yet, but I would say that I did put a tweet out for the moderation icon. I got some really cool ones, especially from WebGirl. So thanks for that. But I might have to I might have to ask you for a forum one as well. So because that doesn't look quite right.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, well, we can.
You can stop now.
Or do triage.
I'm tired.
Okay, so let's stop now.
I just got 2 hours of sleep this night.
Oh.
And
maybe?
Oh yeah, no, I puked all night.
Oh, nice.
Because of the soccer yesterday. It happens sometimes.
Yeah,
Crazy night.
Soccer makes me puke as well.
So what's the score, Antoine? I didn't check. Or maybe you don't want to share the score? There's no score. What? You're not following the game? Wow.
Are we soccer fans?
No.
What are we doing? Triage now?
No.
I just got the update to Android.
We're gonna update to Android.
All right.
I wonder if it moves December.
Well done.
We are done.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Don't forget to...
Oh, Lille is winning. Wow.
What?
2-0 for Lille.
Yeah, who cares? Bye.
Who is this
Goodbye.
that you speak of?
Who would have expected that?
Allez les bleus. Allez les bleus.
Please start working on 1.7. Pick a feature, adopt it.
Oh, I send you the numbers. I'll do it right now. Okay?
Bye.
Bye, girls.